Alphonso Davies going down and how well they play without him.
Mm-hmm.
Like
happens
qualifying for the World Cup.
I've got it written down, Gregor. I have it written down.
He missed half of the games in the World Cup qualifying. You could argue they played better without him.
So what are you saying, Craig?
It's just an interesting situation where he tries so hard and tries too much. He has never found that balance with the national team as he does, obviously, with Bayern Munich, which is a completely different animal.
I was speaking to someone pretty high up in Canadian football, and they were saying not since the Panama game in qualifying has Fonzie really shown what he can do for his country. And I thought the same thing for a while. And listen, we all love Fonzie, man. He's world class. Obviously, Fonzie is going to start right when he's healthy, clearly. But he's got to look in the mirror, I think, and figure out what is he bringing to this team, because that trying to throw the team on his shoulders and take over games isn't working. It just isn't.
It's not, but it's not just Alphonso Davies himself and his performance. You have to look at everything around that. You have to look at the aura and, the world-class talent that the opponent then fears when he's part of that starting 11. That's part of it. And it's also what his teammates are doing, the constant deferential attitude, we'll leave it to Fonzie to do it. And then I think that he might feel that energy, and then that contributes to him trying to do everything himself, existing in isolation constantly without pulling his teammates along. I think it's not quite as bad as it used to be, but it's still an issue where we can't get an elevated performance out of Alphonso Davies that's happening in concert with an elevated collective. So Canada will only be at its best when you can do those two things. So I don't know how you feel about it, Jimmy, when you're watching, say, the Mexico match. We don't see enough of him versus the USA, and we don't ever really know because he goes out in the 12th minute. But do you see that as an issue plaguing Canada as Jesse Marsh has talked about 6 international windows before next year's World Cup. So is this something that he's maybe addressing internally with his captain?
Sorry, say that again, Dubs.
It was a lot of words. So right now you're our poorest pod player right now, Jimmy. You're gonna be off the bench next game. I just
want a little bit of clarity because I didn't really understand what you're saying. Say it
Alphonso
again.
Davies.
Yeah.
And all the nuances surrounding him wanting to do it himself. Is this something internally that Marsh is having conversations with his captain about?
I don't think he wants to do it all himself. I think what happens is he a team player? Yeah, he tries to be, but when they're down, they're chasing the game, he feels that he's got to do that little bit extra. And I think that's where he finds himself in trouble, when he's trying to dribble out of the back and he's trying to take that extra touch, take that extra player on. I think Davies is best when he plays simple. But that's his issue right now, is that when they're down and they're chasing the game, he feels he's the captain, he's the leader, he's the big player. He has to take control, and that's my problem with him. That's the biggest issue that he has. But I like Davies when you see glimpses of him, when even against the States in the first number of minutes where Ali Ahmed comes inside, his starting position's a lot higher. He's getting in behind. We showed it in the pregame. Just where he's at his best, getting in behind defenders. He needs that space, and when he's utilized correctly, you can see the real Fonzie come out. But if he's not, and he's asked to do more than what he should be doing, that's where the issue is.
Do you think, and I have no idea, so though you guys that played and captain teams, do you think when you put an armband on certain players, they do try too much? They put too much on themselves, that a player like Fonzie's better to be just play football, son. Don't worry about anything else. Yeah.
No, you're right, Sharms. It does. And that depends on the individual, what his characteristics are like. Some individuals, when they do get an armband, it goes to their head a little bit and they feel they've got to do more and be somebody that they're not. Others can take that responsibility and nothing changes. They remain the same individual. And I think that's part of the reason, is when that armband's on him, and he feels he's got to take control and he's got to do that extra. And that's the issue at times. And we all know that. We all know that when he gets on it and he wants to dribble through half the team and he takes those extra touches. That's him trying to be the man and trying to take control and do something for his team and country.
Maybe to be what he thinks everybody else believes, Marsh included, his teammates, and it might be misguided, but what he thinks they believe a captain should be. And then that's why there's a disconnect. Like, he's not fully authentically Fonzie the player as captain because he's trying to be different. He's trying to assume a different role or a different vibe or energy out there.